All right, we could be about to save you a lot of money over a lifetime. These days, we are spoilt for choice when it comes to buying honey. But is it worth paying up to $20 for a small jar of Manuka honey that claims to have all kinds of health benefits? Let's call in our medical researcher, Dr. Shaun Holt. Morning to you, Shaun.
Yeah, good morning, Paul.
OK, it has been proven that there are three particular areas where honey can be a big help. What are they?
Yes, certainly honey is very good for burns, it's very good for wounds, even possibly wounds with MRSA, you know, the bug that's going around all the hospitals, and also for cough. You know, that tickly cough at night, particularly in children, they just can't stop coughing and stay awake. It's very good for that as well. Right. They're proven.
Wounds, burns, cough are the three key areas. Now, the difference between cough and the other two is that basically any old honey will do. Yeah,
so for the cough, we think it's just a physical factor, you know, the thick, sticky liquid on your throat is covering those raw nerve endings, and it was better than some of the opiate-based cough medicines they tested it against. It's just a thick liquid, and it's a particularly good one. For anything applying to the skin, the burns and the wounds, you've got to use medical-grade honey, which is purified, so a lot more expensive.
So where are you buying that?
Oh, you get that from a pharmacy or from the people who make it.
So is there no real... So there isn't real benefit in getting a normal honey and putting it on a wound?
No, you shouldn't do that because it's impure. It can give you things like botulism. So you've got to have the more expensive, pure, sterilised medical honey, which comes in gauzes and bandages and that sort of thing.
All right. Now, the term, the word you haven't mentioned yet is Manuka. But interestingly enough, if you were to travel anywhere around the world and you talk about honey, very often the people will say, oh, Manuka honey from New Zealand. That's what you have to have. Yeah,
absolutely. I'm just back from Asia, where it's very, very popular and they can't sell enough over it. And it's a great industry. We're selling a lot, particularly to Asia. Now, in terms of the Manuka factor, you pay a lot more for that.
However, even more than medical-grade honey?
No, because that's put into bandages. But comparing a jar of honey with Manuka factor or not, you pay a lot more for that. Now, I'd like to... I'm a researcher, I'm biased. I'd like to see a lot more research. They've done some test tube stuff, which shows that it kills more bugs and things, but not actually tested it in people. So at this stage...
Is it not reasonable to extrapolate the test tube
stuff? No, absolutely not. You can't do that at all. You have to do...
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Right. I wish I hadn't even suggested it now.
No, just I get this question all the time, and you just cannot... It's a good starting point, but so many things work in a test tube and don't work on people, so you've got to do that research.
So what you're saying is that given the lack of research at the moment, all you can say is that Manuka honey would be as good as any other honey.
Absolutely, and it may well be proved to be wrong, and I think it may well work, but you've got to do that research. The point's been made. You can sell a jar of honey for $10. You can do the same jar of Manuka honey, do some research and show it works for medical conditions, sell it for $1,000.
Right.
So I'd urge the industry to do a lot more research.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, Shaun. Thank you very much. Interesting, isn't it? So burns, infections, and coughs.
Coughs. Yep. And toast. Don't forget toast, honey on toast.
Because it's quite good to eat. And as we mentioned earlier in the program, because we talk a lot about Egypt, they actually found Manuka honey, not Manuka honey. Well, how do we know? They actually found honey in some of the pharaohs' tombs, and it was still edible. After thousands and thousands of years, it was still edible. Which just goes to show, they should have used honey to glue together the pyramids, because after thousands of years, they're falling to pieces.